I guess we're back with little dogs who use you as a springboard. Anyway, Lisa's little dog, Peaches, is bouncing off of Lisa. She's trying to sit on the couch with her computer, and the dog is boinging off of her. So, what you've got to, honestly, I mean, you have really got to be the no reaction thing. If you're going to get them in your lap and put your hands all over them, what ends up happening is they only do it when they start getting neurotic and afraid. Then they want to sit in your lap. That's their choice, not yours. Because I'm going to tell you when they're going to get neurotic and afraid. Oh, the wrong times. When there's no reason. If it was, look, I accidentally drew her back to me. Let me see if I can just dissuade her away by not looking. Because this is a 6-year-old dog. They've figured out humans. They've got a degree in human behavior. What else have they had to do? So what I've got, though, with this dog, you guys, and if you said ideally, is not as much motion and stuff as you want get going on the page, I say no. But I've got enough that I can work with, because what I have to say to myself is this dog's problem is lunging on the leash like a banshee. And I got a little taste of it, and I already know. I mean, I can picture what it is. But what I partly say to myself is, as much as possible, I don't want that to be a part of our initial relationship in any way, where that was happening and I was in that scene at all. You know what I mean? In my scene, in my movie, I'm Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm. So what I've got to start doing, though, is get the dog.
Is that a new show?
Yeah.
Sunnybrook Farm.
What is that? Sparkles in the Bushes.
Sparkly in the bush.
Well, no, I want my relationship to be all butter and roses or whatever it is. We need to make some cupcakes today, too. But I do need to understand that what my motivation and everything is getting the pager interjected into the dynamic is so I can add it on the leash. So I can set up some things that I can do prior, and this is what you guys have to think of, prior to it going into the screaming behavior. Certainly my plan is not, I'm going to wait until it goes into the screaming behavior, and then I'm going to start hitting the constant. Because I now don't even call it the continuous constant anymore, because my friend Vicky reminded me that's what it's, constant's what it was called. It was called constant before it was called continuous, which is a much shorter, easier to spell word, so that's what we use.
Stick with that one. I'm on board with that one.
We're sticking with that one. But that wouldn't be, that would short circuit them out. But what I've got, again, is I've got Greg's cold collar that's accidentally got set on 7. I'm saying to myself, I'm going to use it now that the dog is a smart little dog and's got an understanding. I'm going to use that weaker pager at this short distance, and let me see what happens. Just stay on the dog. Well, we're both in the shot, I'm sure. Lulu!
Yay.
But what I need to understand with that is I'm accomplishing, because if there was 2 subtasks to introducing the pager, it would be the dog understanding that's me, and then the next one being your job of interjecting it in motion. So that falls in the category of the dog understanding it's me. You do want that to be very, very clear. You want that to be clear. If that's not clear within about the first 10 minutes, you're not doing it right. All right, so look, that's why, if it freaks them out, that's why when people say, it freaks them out, then that's you freaking them out. That's you freaking them out. Because if in 10 minutes you can't get them to figure it out. So what I've done is I've modified this collar. All right, watch. So now I've even got a dog that's, I can probably get a little motion if I'm fast enough. Lulu! So that's what I'm saying to myself. What kind of bit of motion is it? We're talking about a dog that doesn't move around a lot. Until it goes berserkio. And in fact, what this dog is she's operating at about a 10. But then when she sees a dog, she goes to about 97. And that's on a scale of 1 to 50. So what I want to do, and you've got to be very deliberate about how you hook the leash. But you can see this dog's got little heavy tags and everything. They don't think anything of you suddenly putting some collar on. And I do like this thing, Greg. I do think if if you're going to keep it flat like that with no point of contact, I do think you need this elastic type strap, because then it makes it, I was kind of trying to think what it was making it like. All right, look, I've got the dog distracted now. This is my chance to get a little bit of motion going. Lulu, she heard the bag crinkle.
Yay! Yay!
So what I'm saying to myself, the time before that I got her running, I did get her running, so you better make enough. And she's not going to be running on the leash, so what I want to do is just hook my leash to that little bungee thing, because this is what I want you to think of anyway. We need to tell Greg to send us some of those collars, and if he says no, I won't blame him. I'm so mean to him. I was getting so mad, and I was just blaming him for all this terrible training spreading. Summer knows I start watching YouTube on the elliptical, and then there's a vortex on YouTube that you fall into, where they must all use the same tag words is what it's got to be. They all use the same tag words, and so then they just start popping up, and it's one is worse than the other. If you said, this dog is listening for that crinkle, I've got to be careful. But yeah, they've all got the same equipment, a pinch collar, Greg's round remote,
A long
and
leash.
comments are disabled. All right, watch, I'm going to do my stronger pager.
Unbelievable.
Lulu! Yay! So again, I'm giving myself the thumbs up. That's what you guys need to maybe have. Start keeping a little diary. I tell people to keep training logs. I don't. We lose them. Where's my training log? But you should,
Hey, you got a good memory of that.
you know, because what I said to myself is, you know, thumbs up with that, and, you know, I'm not going to keep repeating that. I'm able to generate some momentum, but not as much as I want, because do not kid yourself that this little dog is able to run really, really fast. So I've got to be very deliberate. This dog is going to be checks and balances on my hand when I go to put this leash on. And I would be too. I would be too. I do want him to know what I'm doing, so you can have the food.
Yay!
Yeah, she's dropping her ears down. I'm gonna make sure none of the little hair. So that's what I've got. I've got it. Look, she gives me the shake off. And that's what they do if you put a pinch collar. If you're putting a pinch collar on the dog and it's shaking right after you put it on, well, that's called the shake off. All right, so what I'm saying to myself is I'm just going to be very deliberate. You really even need a tinier collar. Make sure my little thing is that way. And then I'm just going to make this a major leash. I told Greg, that's how I got started with the conversation with Greg yesterday. All these transcripts are being saved for a play one day. When it opens on Broadway, it's going to be called Kelly and Greg, Best Frenemies Forever. Greg's watching this. He's like, oh my God.
Oh boy.
Write me out of your show. All right, look, I inadvertently have this Peeps wrapper in here.
I still
that's
have my
giving me
Peeps.
away.
It's in my other jacket.
No, that was the only thing that kept me alive that night. I told Summer. All right, look, but I'm not trying to get rid of my Peeps wrapper.
It's funny, mine's in mine too.
No, some girl sent us an email about a husky, and she said, here's the crinkle. So look, I've got a dog that's very interested now. All I have to do now is make this, and that, and my voice all go together. And my body language. And try not
That's
to chew
all.
gum at the same time. Sparklers over there playing with the pups. So I'm gonna use my weak pager to start out with, which is what I do recommend. Lulu. Oops. And honestly, that's not the worst thing that happened. So I'm being very deliberate with my leash. You know, I would want this dog later, if it suddenly gained the ability to talk, to say I was always very, very deliberate about how I handled the leash with you. And I would want a dog that said, I noticed that. You know what? I noticed that. All right, look, so I'm going to go for my stronger pager here, though, and see what happens. I'm just going to bump it. Lulu! And if you said, how is this helping your bigger picture? And I'm just saying it's restructuring what we're doing with the leash. It's giving the leash a new, and that's, you know, people say don't hook it to that because it's going to be tight. All right, watch. So I already know that I can get her moving that way. But and don't kid yourself. She sees the leash. I don't want it coming up in her face. She's not a leash hooker. I don't think I say that. She will be. When she looks at this dog, I'm going to go, Lulu. Only adding my pager over there. All I'm doing, if you were saying, with Cliff Notes version, what you're doing, I would say, just adding the same behavior as the recall. Just the leash is there now. Because he might not do that exact same thing with every dog. But look, now we got our little foot up. And ideally, and this is where we would be at the end, you guys, where this dog would now be laying down by default on the leash. And then if I said, well, I got it to down 500 times, it hadn't done the lunging 500 times. If it had only done the lunging 100 times, then you see what I'm saying? I'm balancing it out. And no, you are going to have to add the nick with a dog like this. She wants the treats, though. I'm just kind of trying to get her. If I can set up a scene, I can go back that way again. But I am being very deliberate about the leash. I'm not going to let it. I'll tell you, the last thing I would do would be anything that would involve trying to pull it towards you with the leash. You'd always think you're defaulting. They model behavior so much. I'm just going to do a slight shoulder turn and do that weak pager and see what happens. So that's, what I did right there. And, it was very subtle, but it was sort of defined the boundary of the leash. That was that's how it operates. Lulu.
Yay! 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 Yay!
Like I said, that's where we're at. That's where you want to be. And I'm going to be very deliberate about how I take it off, too. This is my new prop. Remember, we were going to invent that Friday, remember? The training tool. You just crinkle this.
Oh, yeah.
Then you give your dog. It's only $9.99.
That's it.
No, we'll get it with.
That's our cookies.
Let's get the Panzer II logo on there.
It's only
And,
$9.99.
crinkle paper. But I'm going to be very deliberate about how I take it off. And even then, this is where I'm at. I'm not following it with any physical postscript. If anything, I'm the magician that disappears. Don't be your dog's stalker. That's the message. Not you, Wendy. Not you guys. Just people in general. Average Americans. People in other countries.
Nobody wants a stalker.